chickens, it would be nice if you guys could come out and support me. Hi everybody, welcome to a BlyGoop chicken update video. I am by no means a chicken expert. I am fairly knowledgeable about raising chickens. That being said, if I can do it, you can do it. If you are going to treat these chickens right, and if you're going to provide them a safe place to live with food and water and a little bit of your time to make sure that they're healthy and happy, I think that it is a very joyful experience seeing these animals flourish underneath your care. Before I get into the tips, I wanted to give some background information as to the situation that I was dealing with when I got my chickens, as far as how it all went down, right? So I ordered my chickens off of a website, Mayor's Hatchery, and they were born on a Monday. They arrived to my house on the Tuesday. So very quick, really great customer service. Could not recommend them more as far as my experience goes with the broodery, right? I did lose the 2 chickens, and because it was within the first, I think it was 48 or 96 hours, they did give me a refund. So for the 2 chicks that I lost, they have that guarantee. It might have been 48 hours. But the second thing is that I got these chicks mid-March, so it was still pretty cold outside, maybe 40, 50, 60s degrees Fahrenheit outside. So I couldn't raise these chicks outside in a brooder in a little shed because I don't have a garage. So that's a big deal. That goes into the fact that we raised these little chicks from 1 to 6 weeks in my husband's computer room. So that was a mess, an absolute mess, the entire 1.5 months that the chicks lived in there, but easily accessible. I don't want to do it again, but if I do get chicks in the future, either these girls are gonna have to sit on them, you know, and take care of them, or they're gonna have to go back into the game room because, like I said, I don't have a garage. Let's see. Another thing is that the brooder that I got, the very first brooder box that I got, great, loved it. It was a 50-gallon tub from Walmart. It's one of those black tubs with the yellow lids on top. I'm actually using it to hold all of my chicken supplies out here in the yard. And that was very long, which means it had a lot of room for the chicks to move around. And I used that 50-gallon tub until I think it was week 2 or 3, and I actually moved them into a playpen. The playpen I got was an extra large pet house that I got off of Amazon. It's usually 40, 50 bucks, but I got it open box for 25, which is a really good deal. And those dimensions are 51 by 44, I think by 50. If I'm not, no, I'm sorry, 51, 44 by 30. And that was a really good thing to transition to because they were getting too big for the brooder box, but I can't let them run around the room all day. And so they really enjoyed that bigger space up until the day that we took them outside. And the reason that we took them outside was because they were starting to fly out of it and just making a huge mess everywhere. If you know anything about chickens, is that they poop a lot. My first tip is that there's this conversation, should I get a heat lamp or should I get a heating plate, right? And most of the people that I was following, getting my information from, said heat plate. They said that the heat lamps are inherently dangerous, that you can fry your chicks, that they'll overheat, that they won't do well. And so I thought I was doing the right thing by getting a safer option for both my house and for my chicks. Now, like I said, it was cold outside when I got them, and my house at night is between 65 and 60 degrees, right? My husband likes to sleep cold. My little chicks were cold, and the very hardy ones were doing okay, but the 2 that I lost, I think I lost because of the cold. The heat lamp, when we did set it up, was actually a really good option because my brooder box was so big. The chicks had an opportunity to sit underneath the heat lamp if they wanted to get warm, and they had the option of moving away from the heat source if they got too hot. So I really wish that I would have started off with just the heat lamp, maybe both, because I bought both. The heating plate was $70 on Amazon, and the heat lamp was $15 from Lowe's, right? You just have to have a really good setup. And the way that I monitored the heat inside of the Brooder was that I got $2 thermometers, like they're $2, and I got 2 of them from Walmart, and I put one directly underneath the heat lamp, and I put one in kind of like the shaded portion where the heat lamp wasn't touching, so I could actively monitor if it was getting too hot inside of that room, inside of that box for the chicks. And so there's those charts, right? You start at what, 90, 95, and you go down 5 degrees every week that the chicks are alive. Inside of that heat lamp box, right, inside of the radius that was touching, it was always between 90 degrees at the very hottest portion, and it went down to about 80 degrees on the cooler parts, maybe sometimes 75 degrees. So it was a really good range that the chicks could move to wherever they felt comfortable. And I couldn't recommend that more. Get a really good setup, turn it on, but actively monitor how hot or how cold it is inside of that box. And you won't need the heating plate, because I don't think it gets warm enough. That's probably the most important point that I'm going to say. If you're brand new, you've never done this before, make sure that your heating source is monitored and warm enough, and there's a space for the chicks to cool down if they're too warm. Tip number 2 is that I severely underestimated the time and energy it was going to take for me to monitor what they call pasty butt on the chicks. And pasty butt is when their little chickie poop gets stuck coming out, right? And there's 2 areas on the chick. There's a little booty, and then there's like their umbilical cord attachment area. When you're cleaning on, you do not want to touch the umbilical cord area. If you take it off, they can die. But the pasty butt is actually pretty difficult to get off. People say that they use like Q-tips and they get it wet and they kind of like rub them. What we did is we took the chick to the bathroom, made sure that they were warm inside of our hand. We got lukewarm water, and we just kind of stuck their little booty underneath the water. We had like a towel, a little face towel, and we just gently rubbed them like that. Right after that, they get patted dry, make sure that they're not moist when we put them back in there. And we did that for every chick, so 8 down to 6 chicks. In the morning when I woke up before work, right after work when I got home, and then right before we went to bed. And guaranteed there was always a chick or multiple who needed to get cleaned. So pasty butt is a big deal, and it really stopped happening, I'm gonna say around week 2. Around 14 days is when I saw it kind of decrease as a problem. And after week 3, I don't think I was checking them at all because it had gone away. So it's the first 2 weeks that you really want to be diligent and make sure, because that's something that you can prevent, right? You can clean them because they can't clean themselves. So pasty butt is a real deal, and everybody was like, oh, chickens are so low maintenance. And I was thinking for the first 2 weeks, like, these things are so fragile, they'll freeze to death, and if they poop on themselves, they'll die. Are you kidding me? So that was pretty stressful. But after the first 2 weeks, it did get a lot easier. And that's kind of it. That's all that I have as far as the 2 most important things, pasty butt and making sure that they're warm enough, right? I think another important thing is going to be obviously the size of their brooders, and you need to move them in order to give them more space to make sure that they're comfortable. But I think if you have those 3 things down, you're pretty much good to go. Everything else in this video is just going to be extra bonus content, so you can stop now if you'd like. The other things that I'd like to add is we took them outside at week 6, and like I said before, it was because they were flying out of sight of their little brooder that I had for them inside the game room and just making a mess. And also I got them in mid-March, so we took them outside at the end of April, and the temperature had warmed drastically. So it was now like 60s at the very lowest, into the 70s, and now this week we're in the 80s, approaching the 90s. What I did the first week that I had them outside is that their heat lamp is inside of the coop. I don't turn it on anymore. We're at week 8 now. The week leading up to them coming outside, I had turned off the heat lamp inside of the house so they can kind of get used to life without it. Inside of the house, it was, like I said, maybe 75 during the day and 68 at night. When we came outside, like I said, 60s, 80s, and I had the heat lamp on for them just in case they got too cold. The first couple of nights, they didn't know what to do. They were fine, but they were just staying down there. And now it's the second week that they're outside, and now they're actually going up into the area where they're supposed to be, where I have their roosts, and they are all roosting on there now. I didn't teach them how to do it. They just feel comfortable doing it. Okay, so we took them outside week 6. They've been doing great. Billy had actually taught us a lot of what we needed to know as far as reinforcing the coop. We thought we were done with the coop, but we actually had to lay predator wire around the coop because all of the doors have locks on them, very hard to open. But you could easily just dig underneath, which is what Billy was trying to do. So I'll show you in a little bit that we laid the predator wire around the chicken coop, and that gives me peace of mind that these chickens are really well taken care of. The chicken feed for my 6 chickens lasts all week. I just have to refill it every Sunday. And the water, I just make sure before I go to work in the morning that they have water available because it does get pretty hot. But other than that, I come outside after I'm home from work and the dogs can stay out here with them, and I open both of their doors. Nobody wants to be outside today. I think we have one running around, but I open up both of the doors so if they want to come outside that they can, and they're safe to do so. And as soon as the sun starts going down, I come out here just to check on them, and they're all inside of their coop already. These are very lazy creatures. They don't need a lot of stimulation. But they do get excited to see me in the morning when I open up their doors. So I thought this was going to be a really informative video. It turns out that I don't really have that much to teach. I will links for the videos that I watched to help me on this journey. There's a lot of really good resources out there if you just Google it. The only thing is that everybody has a different opinion. So if your gut is telling you something like, it doesn't seem that warm in there, if your gut is telling you something, listen to it. Use your intuition, and treat these animals kindly. Mine don't really like to be picked up. They're not that friendly, but when I do pick them up, I make sure that I look in both of their eyes, well, just one of their eyes, and we connect in that way. And then I'll put them down. They're not scared of me. They're just, I don't really have friendly chickens. Anyways, if you want to see the beginning of my journey, go check out my vlog. If you'd like to see how we built the coop, go check out that vlog. I can give a very detailed video about how we built this chicken coop. I have all of my receipts, and I have a lot of footage as to how we did it, as well as the plans that we were inspired by. Before I end this video, this coop and getting the chickens set up, everything cost me about $1,000. Which I think is pretty good because wood's very expensive in 2022, but the entire project, I would say it was probably about $1,000, give or take. We built a coop in 2 weeks, and that's all I have. So I hope this video helped. If not, I got to sit outside on a Sunday and talk to my phone. So like and subscribe if you'd like more content. Let me know what you want to know inside the comments below. I probably forgot a lot of things, but if you have specific questions, I can help answer those, as well as point you inside the right direction if I don't know the answer. Maybe we can find something that does. Okay, again, this is BlyGoop. These are my chickies. They're all inside their coop right now, not participating, but that's okay. Happy Sunday, everybody, and I'll see you next week. Got a couple more stragglers. This is it. That's the hole that Billy's digging. For some reason, Billy wants to get under. show you guys the inside. Here's the inside. That's the little thing we got on Amazon. Those are the roosts. Pretty much at the same level. Little ladders that they don't use. The inside, there's their water on some bricks. There's our feed. There's the lamp that we don't turn on. These are the 4 that don't want to come out right now. And this is the latch. So all of them have a latch like this. Not all of them necessarily turn, but all of them have a latch like this. A deadbolt, just with a very easy combination. And then I open this one when I want to get eggs. Well, when the time comes for me to get eggs. Sorry, my train of thought is just really off of the wall right now. I can't really focus because there's just so much information to try to give.